Hello, thank you so much for joining this video tutorial. This is lesson 10, UFT data-driven testing for beginners. In this lesson, we will enhance the second automation test script that we created. We'll enhance it for data-driven testing. That means that we created book flights script with hard-coded data. And today we will remove those hard-coded data and point the script to data source. Today's lesson is divided into 8 parts. First part will open up the login action because this action has test data. So we need to open it for enhancing. Part 2 will prepare the test data for login action. And then part 3 will parameterize the login action, which means that replace the hard-coded data by pointing to the data source. After that, we'll open the book a flight action because this action also needs test data. Prepare the test data for that action, parameterize as well. Last 2 actions, we will run the test and analyze the test result. So before I continue, I'd like to show you where we are. We have built this script with object repository, and then we have removed the hard-coded data and then point the script to data source. Today, we'll be working with here. We already have that script. We already have the object repository. And today we'll be removing this script, removing the hard-coded data from this script and point to the data source that we also going to create today. So what we do next, now that we understand what we'll be doing, we know our goal. So let us do the work. So part 1, open the login action. And from this small table, you can see that login action is this one. We need test data for that. And open marketing, we don't need test data. Book a flight also need test data right here. But exit marketing, we don't need test data. So today we'll be working on, we will update these two actions, login and book flight. So let us open the login action. It's already open. But how you open, you simply file, open solution, and then this is the solution you can open. Once you open it, you will see the 2 tests, book flights and registration. And we need to open this login test. Login test right here. Let me double click it. Login test is open. So now, what we do next, okay, let me not go fast. Let me go back to this document, see what I'm supposed to do next. So I open that action, login action. Now, let me prepare the test data for login action. So, to prepare the test data for login action, what we can do is, let me expand. First, you know that for login, we need username and password. So what I can do is add 2. So this is the UFT data table. In the UFT data table, this is the global sheet. We need 2, not here. Double click the column header. And I like to add user name and click OK. And double click the column B header again. I like to add password. And then click OK. Enter username as AA and password as AA as well. BB and then BB. So what I did, simply prepare this test data source in UFT data table and prepare the test data. Username and password, I have two sets of data. Save it. So if I go back here, I'm done with the part 2. Now is the part 3. Parameterize the login action. That means that replace the hard-coded data by pointing to the data source that we just created. So what we can do is, you can see these are hard-coded data. This is username and that's encrypted password. And we like to, because this is username, we wanted to point to the username column. So let's click this data table and that's the username column. Same thing for password. We want to point to the password column. Click this data table, password column. So as you can see, we no longer have the hard-coded data, rather have a reference to the data table columns. So we have done enhancing the login script and a login action. I like to save it. I like to ignore this for right now. Let's see if it works. So let me go back to this. Parameterize the login action. So now what I wanted to do is part 4, open the book a flight action. You can see the book a flight action is here, right here. And I like to double click book a flight to open it. And you can see we have some hard-coded data, first name, last name. That's my first name field, last name, and the credit card number. So I like to come to data table. And here I like to double click column header. Sorry, I'm going a little fast. 1 second. So I open up my action, book a flight action. Now that I open my book a flight action, what should I do next? Prepare the test data for book a flight action. Okay. So let me zoom it again. Prepare the test data. So as you know, I need first name, last name, credit card number. So let me double click column header here and enter first name and then click OK. After that, I like to double click column header, this one, D, and enter last name. After that, click OK here, and then double click column header E, number. So instead of saying number, say credit number, no, credit card number. So let's click OK. So what I did, these added 3 columns, and let's say John, last name Doe. Credit card number, I like to say whatever, doesn't matter. And the second column, I like to say Mike Smith. Also, it doesn't matter. So I'm done with preparing the test data. I like to save it. After I save it, and I can come down here, parameterize the book a flight action. So now that I prepared the test data, as you can see, I still have hard-coded data. So let me remove this hard-coded data and point to the data source. You can manually delete that, it's okay. If you not, that's okay too. Just click this parameterization icon right here, click this, click data table, and where this is first name, so I'm going to select first name, double click that, and expand it so you can see it. Same thing for last name. Click this icon, data table, and this is last name field. I'm going to select last name, double click. Lastly, I have credit card number. Same thing, click here, data table, credit card number. So as you can see, book a flight. I have first name, last name, credit card number. Before I had hard-coded value, now all pointing to the data source. So that means we enhance the script for data-driven testing, and let's save it. So we have done this up to here, part 6. What about part 7? Run the test. So again, before I run the test, let us view this. And before that, actually, let's see the flow here. Book flights. Flow shows that open marker reaction. Let's click this. You can see open marker reaction will call open marker action of marker register to open the application in Chrome browser. And login action is enhanced for data driven. So it's going to log in using we are talking about the first iteration. It's going to log in using the data set from the first row. And then it's going to book a flight using the data from the first row. And exit marker will call exit marker action of marker registration action, registration test. That's my first iteration. Second iteration is going to do it again. It's going to call open marker action of marker registration test, and then it's going to log in using the second data set. Book a flight will complete book a flight using that second data set, and this exit marker action will call exit marker action of marker registration test. So I also have this diagram. You can see same thing. That's my marker registration test. That's my book flights test. We are talking about book flights. Open marker, that's number 1, calling open marker of marker register. This guy going to open the application. Then number 2, login action will log into the application using the first data set. 3, book a flight will complete book a flight using the first data set. 4, exit marker will call exit marker to exit the application. Now 6, you can see open marker again going to call open marker action of marker registration to open the application. 7, login action will log into the application using the second data set. 8, book a flight will complete book a flight using the second data set. 9, exit marker will call, it shows number 10, calling exit marker action of marker registration test. So that will be the execution flow that was going to happen during runtime. You will not be able to notice that because it will go so fast. So I just want to give you the demo so you understand how the flow will work. So I hope this error will not cause any problems. So let's see if it's problem, then we'll try to fix it. So the book flights test. You can see book flights test right here. I selected, right click, and then click run. And I like to keep it 100. Let's see what happens. We're running now. Looks like those errors is a problem. Okay, just run it again. Book flights, right click, test, click run. So it's now we are on the first iteration. It's going fast. First iteration is done. So now it's doing the second iteration. Okay. Looks like test has passed. What do we do next? We completed part 7. Now is the part 8. Analyze the test results. Analyze the test results. So first thing first, you know that we had two sets of data. We have two sets of test data, 1 and 2. Let me zoom it again. That's the global sheet, 1 and 2, two sets of data. So during runtime, UFT completed 2 iterations. Iteration 1 and iteration 2. Iteration 1, because again this is for data driven, we are interested to see the data step. So open Mercury, simply open the application. There is no data involved. Exit Mercury, close the application. There is no data involved. So these are the 2 actions that we like to see. So let's expand this action and see the steps for username. You can see we had AA first row, enter AA, password, same thing here, this one. And enter the same password. For book a flight, let's expand book a flight. First name, you can see John, and last name Doe. So it worked just fine. Second iteration, again, we just wanted to see login steps. Let's expand login action. And then you see username. We had BB, shows BB here. Password, same. And if we expand book a flight action, you're going to see first name, Mike, and last name, Smith. Also has a credit card number. Well, I guess this is it for today. So we want to show you what we did today. What we did was that we removed the hard-coded data from the script too, and then we prepared a data source, updated the script to point to the data source, and then we run the script with different sets of test data for data-driven testing, and it worked just fine. Thank you so much for watching this. In the next lesson, I think, I don't have the note with me, I think this is the piece that we'll be working on, config.xlx file. We created scripts, we executed the scripts manually. That means that we pushed the run button manually. We wanted to take it to the next level. We will be working on config.xls file. We'll working on the driver. So driver will execute the scripts for us to add return on investment, add values to the business. So let us work on this config.xls file in the next lesson. Thank you again for watching this. I hope to see you in the next lesson. Take care.